Hello everyone and welcome to Blender Bits. This is a beginner tutorial series for Blender 2.8 and up. Today we're going to be learning about the basic interface of Blender, so let's get right into it. Today we're going to be learning the basic interface of Blender along with basic movement controls such as location, rotation, and scaling. The first thing you'll see when you go into Blender is probably something like this. The default cube is in the middle here. This is your camera and this is a light source. Let's learn how to look around the scene first. So, what you're going to want to do is use your mouse wheel, and you can scroll up and down to go in and out. The next thing you can do is hold down the middle click button, and this will make you be able to rotate around the scene. The last thing you want to know for basic movement is holding down the shift button and the middle mouse button, and this will allow you to pan like this. Now that we have that down, I'm going to teach you about adding and deleting objects. The first thing we're going to do is to delete everything in our scene so we get a pretty clean slate. So the first thing we're going to do is hit A, and that key command will select everything. After that we can hit X, which is your delete button, and then click on the delete. Now that we have that, we can start adding an object in. We're going to start with adding in a basic cube. Hit Shift A, which is your add menu, and go to Mesh and then Cube. Now we have a cube. The last thing we want to learn today is how to manipulate this object. The first main thing you'll notice when you've added in the cube is down in the bottom corner here we have a menu. This is where you can change your scaling and things like that, and where it is and how it's rotated. This doesn't matter so much on the cube, but might become handy on other objects. So the first thing we're going to learn is location, rotation, and scaling. So what we're going to want to do is use your view commands to come around here and to modify your cube. Let's start with scaling. So if you ever get stuck, you can come over to this side panel right here, and this will help you do the location, your rotation, your scaling, and it'll also tell you your key commands if you hover on it. So if you want, you can use these here to scale it. But that takes a while, so I'm going to go back to the regular view right here, and I'm going to teach you the key commands that you can use for this. So the first hotkey we're going to want to use for scaling is S. If I press S, you'll notice that it scales proportionately in and out. Now, we want to learn the three main axes, which is the X-axis, which is this red one here, the green axis, which is the Y, and the Z-axis, which is the up and down, and it's blue if you ever see it. Now, if we want to scale, we can hit scale, S to scale, and this will scale. Next, we can hit X, and that will scale on the X-axis, or Y to scale on the Y-axis, or Z to scale on the Z-axis. This is pretty simple. All you need to do is press the main key command for scaling, and then you can press the axis, and it'll automatically go on that axis. The next thing we're going to learn is how to undo your changes. Like most programs, Blender's undo button is Control and Z, and this will go back to what you had previously. Let's do rotation next. The key command for this is R. Now you can see I'm rotating. Like scaling, you can press Z to rotate on the Z-axis, X to rotate on the X-axis, and Y to rotate on the X-axis after you've hit R. So now I'm going to undo hitting Control Z. The last key command is G, and it's for movement. So after I've hit G, I can do G on the Z, G on the X, or G on the Y, and this will move it on those axes. Now that you've learned this, you should be able to make simple objects. Like if you want, you could add in another cube and start to kind of move it around with the key commands and start to make maybe a simple snowman, or you can play around with the different shapes and get to whatever result you want. I hope you've learned something today, and I hope you had fun. If you've enjoyed the video, that's great. Have a wonderful day.